Hi, I'm Steve Irwin. Welcome to this episode of Prescott Gallery of Homes. Today I'm with Stephanie Maitland, and Stephanie is a career agent with Arizona Prime Real Estate. She's licensed in Arizona, also Nevada, and California. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you, Steve?
So, Stephanie, we invited you to the show because the real estate commissioner has sent out an advisory late last year talking about alternative business models. And these type of models are where we're starting to see individuals and companies go out directly to the consumer offering to purchase their homes. And you have actually received a contract from an alternative business model broker, is what we'll call it. Tell me about that.
Well, I have a home, and since I'm a realtor, I wanted to see what they were doing. So I called them up, and they sent me a contract, supposedly.
A purchase contract, okay.
Yeah. They didn't disclose, or nor did they know if they were a real estate company or not when I was talking to them.
And they really should disclose that right up front.
It should be disclosed on commercials on TV, and right when they call you, it should be disclosed.
And so somehow you came in contact, they had made an offer to purchase your home. I see by your paperwork they used industry standard forms, but somewhere on there they should say that they're a real estate broker or represented by a real estate broker. Did they do that?
Well, at first I didn't see it until I went through the contract 3 times, and on an addendum, separate addendum, they did finally disclose.
Okay, and so they made an offer on your home. Was it a fair market value offer?
Well, it started out fair.
Okay.
But then when you got deeper into it, there are fees. They were calling fees.
Uh-huh.
And I added it up, and it turned out to be a 6% commission fee.
Wow. So that's deducted from the purchase price.
Yes, I pay that.
So that feels like a commission.
Oh, I added it up. It's exactly 6%.
Okay.
And I wasn't being represented at all. I mean, they were bringing in the buyer, whoever they chose.
Okay.
I mean, there's no competition on my house.
So I see by your documents it said that they were the buyer or they can assign it to someone else.
Right.
And so really we're not sure who the buyer is.
Could be out of the country.
Could be out of the country. They're charging you 6%, which, you know, every commission is negotiable with the buyer and seller in the real estate agent. But 6% sounds like that's a lot to charge just to represent a buyer on a transaction. Usually it's a lot less, I would think.
I charge 6%, but I always give the buying side 3%, so it brings in the buyers.
Oh, that's right.
And it's competition. So I'll get more than one buyer.
So they're doubling up on what they're charging. On the offer price, because you're a real estate professional, you know the industry.
Right, that's why I had to test this.
Yeah, so did they offer you fair market value, do you think?
It was close, but then I'm also licensed in California, and I know they do this trick to where they will offer money, and then they'll come back with repairs and say your house needs this much repairs, and they reduce it even like $20,000 or more to say that it needs, work.
That's almost renegotiating the purchase contract, it sounds like.
Pretty much.
And so you're paying more than full freight, plus you're giving them an additional 20 or so thousand. That's really not a good deal for the seller.
Well, it also shows in here that it's written in there that they'll come back and ask for more money, and it comes out of my proceeds.
As the seller?
As the seller.
Wow, that's not a fair deal at all.
I don't think so.
So as a real estate professional with years of experience, what would you tell a seller if they got some kind of deal like that?
Well, I would tell them to go to a local realtor.
Somebody they know and trust.
Yeah, a trustful, honest realtor, and find out what they're giving the other side to bring in buyers. I mean, it's just a bottom line usually. So if you're giving, fair value to the other side, they're going to bring in more people, the realtor, they're going to show your house
and possibly
more.
get a better sales price too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, negotiate.
Yeah,
better.
I was talking to another agent in the industry here in Prescott, and he had a seller that accepted a deal like that. It was from a national company. They came in, wrote an offer, the seller accepted it. It was about 20% below market value. But for that seller, she needed to know that she had it sold. And she wanted to know what her bottom line is. She didn't want to wait and put it on the market and go through the normal process. But at the end of the day, she lost a lot of money. So it sounds like this is the type of deal that they try to do to you on your property.
Oh, yeah. It's, people are worried about how much commissions realtors make, but they're doing more than what we bring in as clients and as a professional selling.
Yeah, and the traditional way of buying and selling real estate is a lot of people try to sell by owners. We know that about 90% of them ultimately list with a real estate agent or a broker because there's a value there. And ultimately, the broker gets it done.
Well, I say do it locally. Technology is getting out of hand. I have a lot of clients complaining about the technology being hacked, all sorts of things. And they're looking to go more back to the old-fashioned way of, the realtor, written contracts, back and forth. I could do technology if they want, but, clients are getting scared because they're getting...
I got the 15 years I've been doing this, I have a lot of clients. I can tell you for a fact, some of them, there's no replacement for face-to-face contact. They love that human interaction. Some of them will only text me. Some of them will only Facebook me. And so, yeah, technology's there, but it doesn't replace the relationship that you build, trust and integrity when you're dealing with a client.
Right, and they like that. I always pick up my phone on the first call. If I don't, I'm out showing or something's going on, but I always try to pick up that phone on the first ring.
Well, excellent. Hey, I thank you for bringing this topic to us. I think it's a great topic. I think it's something that clients need to be aware of. If you, as a prospective buyer or seller, come in contact with an alternative business model type broker that offers to buy your house sight unseen, I would suggest that you contact a local real estate professional and get a second opinion.
I agree with that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hi, I'm Simon Fort with Arizona Prime Real Estate, and we're doing a segment called the Fort Report here this morning. And I'm here with Judy Numbers, who is the owner of 130 North Cortez, which was formerly the Territorial Courthouse. And Judy, you've got a condominium project started. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
I'd love to. I was walking down Cortez towards the square. I don't even remember why. And I saw the for sale sign in this building window. And something just clicked. I just knew that there was so much potential in this particular building. So I proceeded by purchasing the building and then hiring an architect and a contractor. And so all of that is done and ready to roll. The plan is to have 6 condominiums, anywhere from a studio to a 1 or 2 bedroom, maybe even a 3 bedroom in a couple of them. And then a lounge on the first floor, which will be a quiet lounge where people can go in and it won't be loud noise and they can actually enjoy a conversation,
which will be nice,
over a beverage.
Right?
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So there's not many places like that in Prescott.
I know,
that'll be really nice,
especially downtown.
Absolutely.
And then also there's a retail space that's available on the front storefront level on Cortez.
Right on the walk
right on the
space.
sidewalk.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that used to be the Territorial Courthouse, which was racquetball courts. I think it has 4 racquetball courts in it. It had an attached gym. So your plan is to basically do 2 condominiums up top, correct? And then
2 on the second floor.
2 on the second floor and 2 on the bottom floor.
That's
so we
correct.
got a couple of studio-sized condominiums,
Right.
and they're starting at $274,000 and go up to $524,000, correct? I think that's
that
our
is
price
correct.
points at
That
this
is
point.
correct.
So tell me about the craft bar.
Well, the craft bar is going to be, again, a quiet bar. We may have like the Super Bowl or something for special occasions, but normally it'll just be soft music and craft cocktails that are going to have a unique character to them,
Right.
if you will, that you
Yeah.
can't get anywhere else.
Something that you can't
Yes.
just walk across the street and get
Exactly.
somewhere. Excellent.
And the building itself inside has some beautiful, beautiful historic accoutrements, like the ceiling,
Yes.
and the copper ceiling, and the wooden stairway that goes up.
Right.
So we're going to maintain that
I think
atmosphere,
that's-
that character.
That's excellent.
of
I
the
think
building.
a lot of people want to see that in this town to kind of maintain that whole architecture that was. This building was originally built in 1900, correct?
1900 was the Prescott Hotel, which
Right.
still is on the side of the building.
Right, you can
on
see
the
it.
north side.
Yep, as you're driving south, you can see it on the very top of the building. It's
That's
amazing.
correct.
It's
That's
still
correct.
there. It's really
and
cool.
it was rebuilt after the fire on that block.
Right.
And rebuilt out of brick. And then the owners in 1979 went in and actually built a building inside the building. So it has metal studs, steel girders, steel I-beams.
It's pretty amazing.
So if there's ever a hurricane, that's where you want to go.
Right? Yeah, I've seen it. The steel studs run the distance, right? All the way up to the
Yep.
top and across. It is amazing. It is a sturdy building.
It is.
So one of the great features about that building is some of the windows on the building itself. It looks like they have eyebrows on
Yes.
them and that kind of thing.
I know.
Or you're thinking of, you're taking those out, right?
The windows are going to be reopened,
Right.
and so that each one of the units will have workable, operable windows, which is really great.
Oh, that's great.
And I
Yeah.
think probably one of the greatest feature, which is probably worth the entire worth of the building, is the 12 parking places in the
Right.
back.
Oh, absolutely. Could sell that for the same amount as the building if you wanted to.
So if you choose to invest in the a project with a condo, then you will have availability of securing a parking place,
space.
and it will be secured with a gated locked
Yeah,
gate.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's perfectly located. If you've been by there, well, you've been by there, but I mean, it is like almost dead center in the middle of town.
It is.
It's within
It is.
a couple hundred yards of the courthouse. There's the grocery stores just down the road. There's banking everywhere. We've got restaurants, bars, you name it. If you want to just walk out the front door and get to practically
anything.
anything in this town,
Yeah.
it's available.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a great place.
You could actually live there without a car.
Yes.
you-
And that's
if you
the beauty
chose
of
to.
it. And I think a lot of people are looking in that direction these
Yeah.
days. They just kind of want to ditch the car and live right in a place
Yeah.
where they can get to it quickly and live their life.
And the 4 units that face Cortez are perfect viewing grounds for all the parades that
Right.
we enjoy
Yep.
going down to Cortez.
Yeah, it's a great location. Well, I want to thank you for coming in. What we're going to do is go and take a look at the building. Hi, I'm Simon Fort with Arizona Prime Real Estate. We're here in downtown Prescott, Arizona, right in front of the 130 North Cortez condominium project. This condominium project is going to have 6 condos, 1 retail space, and a craft bar inside. Originally, this was built in 1900 and was the Prescott Hotel. It was retrofitted in 1970 approximately, and a racquetball court, actually 4 of them were installed inside the building. The owner of the building now is going to convert this 8,000 square feet into 12,000 square feet condominium space. Let's go take a look. So we're inside 130 North Cortez, the condominium project. This is the old territorial courthouse. That's the main entrance, and here's the old staircase leading up to the second story. This was an old hotel built in 1900. You can see the racquetball courts in the background. There was large glass there before. Much of the architecture still remains, and you obviously can see out onto Cortez from the main area here. This is now going to be the craft bar area. The craft bar is going to be quiet. There's not going to be live music. We are taking into account that people are going to be living inside the building. We're just shifting the front door to the side. Here's our first condominium. This is about 713 square feet. It's on the back. It's going to have windows out to the back. This one's actually going to be built out as our model so we can show. This one is also in the back. It's a 2-story. You can see we haven't actually built anything out because we think we can either do some kind of a loft or some kind of industrial look in here. It's up to the owner, as we're going to gray shell, and you can build it out how you see fit. This next one is a single level. It is on the 2nd story, and it's approximately 1,500 square feet, having windows on the north side of the building and on the front of the back. So it's a nice big space that you can put in at least 1 bedroom. This one's a studio up front, 857 square feet. You're going to be able to look right over Cortez. This is on the 2nd level. This condominium is going to be on the north side of the building, and it is on the top story. It's one of the larger ones at 1,442 square feet, both front and back windows and side windows looking north. This is our largest model, 1,968 square feet. You're going to be able to view over Cortez, and you're going to be able to view south. Nice big floor plan, 2-bedroom at least, built out to your specs. And this is the retail space. This is right on Cortez, and this is approximately 580 square feet. We have 1 reservation on this property at this point, but it has beautiful downtown. As you can see, it would be right under the for sale sign there. We're going to put in some nice windows for anybody who wants to purchase that property. It'll be prime real estate for anybody who wants walk-by traffic. This is how we think it's going to look after we're all said and done. Just a beautiful building with some nice light and a great place to live in downtown Prescott.
All right, so one of the things that keeps coming up year over year is the cost of technology. Everyone is aware that the realtor cost of doing business keeps increasing because of convenience for the client. And so, Stephanie, I know you're aware of that. You're kind of one of the agents that are aware of technology and use it a lot. Tell me some of the things that you're seeing in the technology industry for real estate.
Well, just this morning, I keep up on these loan guys, and they were telling us how much it's costing just in the technology for loan costs. And from 2013 to 2018, it's gone up probably $2,500 to $3,000 of, the technology costs doing business online. So, I mean, do local, I say.
Do local.
Call your local realtors and loan officers.
You know, the big thing in Arizona when agents went to the e-sign, electronic signatures,
Right.
DocuSign, e-sign. Now the emerging technology is going to be e-notary. And we don't know the cost of that. We don't know what it's going to look like. But one thing we do know, it's going to cost more money than what we're paying now.
Right. Right.
Excellent. All right. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Terry Atkins, Associate Broker with Arizona Prime Real Estate, and today I have with me Tim Muse with Empire West Title Agency. He is the Chief Title Officer there, and we're going to talk about some escrow and title questions. Hi, Tim. Thanks for
Terry.
being here.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So we'll start off with the basics. When I show homes and I have buyers and we pick that perfect house, then we open up escrow. So we would go to Empire West, open up escrow with a title officer, and then what happens behind the scenes there?
Okay. Well, when you bring your contract in, your earnest money, we get you set up with an escrow officer. She opens up the file. She sends opening paperwork out to all parties. She orders title work from the title department, and then the title department will take that order and research the property, check back taxes, check for assessments, anything that could be an encumbrance on property, we check for. We compile it into what we call a title commitment or a title report, and that will have a requirement page of things that need to happen for successful clear title to be conveyed to the buyer at close of escrow.
And then you're the chief title officer, so do you oversee the title and escrow officers and double check everything? And
yeah, and actually, we're some bigger shops. Like there was a time where I worked in Phoenix, and it was a large regional production center. Is where there were like a lot of title officers, there were a lot of title examiners, and then there was one chief title officer who was kind of the go-to person. The title examiners basically did most of the research, compiled the title reports. The title officers were assigned to certain files. They would maintenance the files. They would answer questions, determine risks. If something wasn't real black and white, if it's kind of a gray area, that's kind of where a lot of your judgment calls come through. Checking with the underwriters, and then of course the chief title officer is where everybody kind of. He was also the go-to person. He or she was also the go-to person for that whole department. In smaller shops like we have in Prescott, chief title officer basically is kind of still the go-to person, but even more because there's not a lot of people underneath. So we have, like in our shop, we have a total of 3 title personnel, and so basically the title officers have a certain dollar amount that of liability that they can go up to, and then the chief title officer has a higher dollar amount for decisions, and then if it's over the chief title officer, they go to the underwriter's legal counsel to get fined. So if it's like several, like say $5 million or higher, you'd have to go to the underwriters to get approval of what you're going to be insuring.
And the ultimate goal is a clear title.
A clear title.
So we just had this happen where I happen to be the listing agent on that one. So the buyer typically chooses the escrow company. So I didn't get a choice. I was the listing agent, and that buyer was through another company, and we get a phone call saying that they don't want to issue title insurance. My seller had picked it up on an auction, and he had lived there for 6 or 7 years. And so there was a few things where that other company just said, hey, we don't want to, this is too big of a risk, but we didn't understand why. So then you were my go-to, hey, can you explain it to me? Because nobody else was explaining it at the time. So, and then Empire West Title Agency ultimately did issue the title insurance and researched it.
Right. We ended up, researching it out and checked with our underwriters and determined that the risk was nominal enough to insure the transaction, and so we ended up closing escrow on it and insuring.
Yes, we did close escrow. Yes,
which is the main goal.
Everybody was very happy. But if this is a fair question, why would another company see such a large risk?
Well,
and then
fair question.
Okay.
Fair question. There are. Let me just kind of explain the differences between there's a couple of different kinds of title companies. There's a title company that is a direct insurer. Like say First American, for example. They insure their own titles, okay. And so they only have to check one place for underwriting questions and risks and things like that. Then there's title agencies that have one or more underwriters that they are in association with. And so, like for ours, we have 5 different underwriters that we can go off of, and certain underwriters we know that do better here, and then we have another underwriter that does really good here, mm-hmm. And so we get to know the strengths and weaknesses of each underwriter with an agency. And so I went to the one that I thought would be the best one to insure, and wrote the title commitment, supply the information, and get a ruling as to yes, we can insure on that. So that's kind of what I did behind the scenes is research the title, write the title commitment, and then check with the underwriter as to the circumstances if we can go forward or not.
Okay, so all title companies are not created equal, then, is what you're saying too.
Similar but not equal. Yeah, similar, because there's always
we're not
different.
beating anybody up. We're just saying
Yeah.
that it is different, because that was something that was a big surprise to everybody involved, and then turned out to not be a problem. at all.
Right, and that is an advantage of having choices. Like, if I have 5 different choices, so I feel fortunate that I could go to different places, versus if I just had the one choice and that's my answer, period. Versus, well, I can try this, I could try, and I do like having the ability to have the choice of the underwriter that fits the situation the best.
Right, and then it
And
obviously helps you close more escrows
Yeah,
and help
exactly,
more people.
because it doesn't help us if we say, sorry, we can't do it. Now, if we say, sorry, we can't do it, we better give you a reason why we can't do
Exactly.
it. 'Cause that's
Yes,
not
and
good
there
to
are.
just
I'm
say
sure
sorry.
there's valid reasons.
Yeah,
So
we have to give a reason. And if you don't get a reason, you got to definitely ask.
And I probably should have started with this, but how long have you been in title?
Oh, a very long time.
know.
Shortly after high school in the early 80s.
So you're very knowledgeable. I know you've lived in Prescott a long time. And
I graduated from high school, from Prescott High School in 1982.
you said it, not me.
I said it. Yeah.
So I know you're very knowledgeable about the area, and you're very, very, very smart with. That's why
Well, thank
I
you.
love when I get to call you. I go, I got the person who's going to answer this question for me.
Also, what I do is I'm also manager over our 2 offices. We have a Prescott Valley and a Prescott office.
Right.
So I do title work and management work. So I kind of they don't really always blend so well. So you kind of gotta kind of make it happen, make it work,
Make it work.
make it work. Turn one faucet on and turn one faucet off, like hot and cold, and just make it work. So anyway, yeah, it works out great. I kind of enjoy the less than normal title work. It's kind of a challenge, and then when I get a call from you, I'm like, okay, let's see if we can make this work.
Because if I'm calling,
if you're calling,
I'm probably mad about something that I need your help with.
So yeah, it's. I think it works out well. If I can't make it happen, I tell you why. If I can't make
Exactly.
it happen, I
Yeah.
make it happen.
Right.
So
Not always a perfect process in
Right.
real estate, but no, it's nice to have answers.
Yeah,
And understanding,
yeah, definitely.
because I know just that situation, I learned a lot. And
I always tell buyers and sellers and agents and lenders, I just don't be afraid to ask the question.
Right.
If there's if you don't understand why something is the way it is, ask.
Right.
Like if you get a title report and there's something weird on there and you don't understand it, ask. There's different coverages. Say, for example, the lower coverage, the less risky coverage, is a standard owner's policy, and that basically covers you just for items of record. And then policies increase in risk, but increase in coverage, also like a Alta homeowners policy. Those are they cover items of record plus physical items too, encroachments, different. There's a whole list of things that they cover that's over top of the standard. So, which means is some properties don't qualify for that increased coverage, and some properties do. Like say your regular subdivision parcel properties. They usually always can get a homeowner's policy.
Right.
Some of your harder properties, mining claim properties, ranches, different
The
things
rural
like that,
stuff.
rural stuff, stuff that doesn't front on a dedicated street. Mostly you can only get standard on those usually. But if you get a title commitment and it's not the coverage you want or you think you should have, ask. Just say, well, how come I can't get this?
Right.
If they can't tell you, then they really should just give it to you, because if they can't give you a reason, they should give it to
They
you.
can't, right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the differences of coverage there. So,
right.
Yeah.
And we do have to explain that to buyers and sellers, because a lot of buyers come in, well, why do I need this? Well, you do. It covers them. Clear title is
Right.
the goal, so that
Right.
ultimately somebody can't come back and 5 owners ago and say,
Say, hey, guess what?
And to make sure that liens are paid or assessments or
Yeah, so
check all
title
of
people
that.
got to find all those stuff so they can tell the escrow officers, say, okay, you have 5 judgments, and you got 4 IRS liens, and you got 3 mortgages, and you got an HOA. This is all what you got to pay off. So they got to know that, so they can contact these people, get dollar amounts, so they can do a settlement statement and make sure that they have enough money in the escrow to pay all these people.
Right.
Which nowadays, with prices the way they are, is usually no problem. But back in like 2008, and when kind of the market
God.
was real down and people were barely getting enough out just to sell,
Right.
that was a kind of an issue.
And then on this, I'm glad you brought up the settlement statements, because that is a huge part and something that every realtor should be looking at. And so I go through it when I get them, and then I talk to the escrow officer if we see any.
No,
Like-
we actually appreciate that, because we want the realtor or the lender to really look at those, because you can't have enough eyes on something like that.
Right.
Because if something doesn't quite look right, and someone calls and say, can you check this line, and something not right, there's more chance of it being accurate at the close, because that's what we want. We want accuracy at the close
Right.
of escrow, because it's the worst thing is to find out there was an inaccuracy after close of escrow.
Right.
Because the money's all gone.
And
after-
ultimately, you need to balance with the lender too. So
Exactly.
that's, I like going over those.
No,
making
we
sure it's
want
all
you to,
good.
yeah.
It could be something that's totally out of the escrow officers. Maybe, us realtors change the close of escrow date 2 or 3 times, and so the wrong date gets plugged in there or something. It's simple things like that. We
and
just
which
wanna make-
date will reflect the prorations. And here's a sample. Say there's a contract written, and there's 3 or 4 counters back and forth on the price.
Right.
There has been times where the title commitment has gone out with the liability amount, and that liability amount didn't match the price. And then I get a call and say, hey, how come the liability amount is this? I'm like, well, I go through the file. I said, well, counter number 3 says such and such amount. She goes, you didn't get counter number 4. Please
Right.
send it over.
Please send it over. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than closing escrow on the wrong sales price.
Yeah, that one. No,
That's
we
not
don't
good.
let that happen.
That's not good. So it was good that the agent caught that, brought it to our attention, and then we found out what happened, and then
Right.
we got the paperwork and amended everything. And
Right.
So yeah.
So it's a good way of, I always tell buyers or sellers, we all have to be able to work together. You've
Yeah.
got the realtors and the title and the lenders, and we have our teams of people that we know we work well with. So that's all part of it.
And it's communicating both ways, and like I say, extra pairs of eyes looking at things is always good too.
Okay, Tim, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for answering all these title questions.
Oh, you're most welcome.
And I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
You know how to get a hold of me.
Hi, I'm Steve Irwin. In this segment, we have 2 very experienced commercial real estate brokers with Arizona Prime Real Estate. So, Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Dave?
Thank you.
Well, so, Scott, you've been licensed real estate professional since, I believe, 1986.
Correct.
So, in that time, give me a brief history of what you've been doing. What you've been up to?
I've been doing commercial business pretty exclusively for 33 years. And
Okay.
worked for some large firms down in the valley and have now relocated up in Prescott. And so I do a lot of multi-market deals.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you.
And I know you're working on some very large projects, too.
Correct.
So, unfortunately, we're not allowed to talk about that until the deal's done.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Dave, you've been licensed as a real estate professional since 1970.
That's right.
Around 1970.
Right.
And so, tell me a little bit about you.
I got started in real estate when I was a member of the Arizona Air National Guard at Sky Harbor.
Wow.
And realized there was a lot of pilots with money, and immediately went into commercial,
Wow.
selling houses and rental places and stuff like that.
Yeah. Able to connect the dots between the money and real estate.
Absolutely.
That's a good sign for a real estate person.
That's right. Typically, you want that, right?
Yeah, that's a good skill to have.
That's right.
And so, tell me a little bit about commercial real estate and what's going on now in the northern Arizona Prescott market.
Well, commercial real estate's a little different. We do a lot of tenant rep deals. So
Okay.
doing the business for tenant and owners of businesses, and then also buyers of buildings in this area.
So, a business that might be relocating to the Prescott area, you would find them a location that's suitable, that meets their needs,
Correct.
and negotiate probably a long-term lease,
Long-term lease, yep.
and then get them situated. What does that cost?
It actually costs zero to the owner or the buyer,
Okay.
or lessee, and we do it for based on our knowledge in the area. We have exclusive databases of this product in the area, and we can bring it forth to the tenants that are looking for it and the buyers.
Yeah, because commercial real estate's not like residential. You're not going to be able to go to Zillow or someplace like that and
Correct.
find maybe a commercial place. A lot of those just simply aren't on the market. I mean, you'd have
Correct.
to really kind of know people to know what's available or what's coming available.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. And Dave, tell me a little bit about some of the deals that you might be working on. Do you have anything in the hopper?
Nothing of any size
Okay.
that counts.
But you always have clients that you're out showing property
Well,
with.
the last thing I sold was some land that I personally own and subsidize and own in Payson.
Okay. Oh, good. So you do more than just a downtown Prescott area.
Oh yeah, we'll do anything.
Okay.
As long as it's, I'd say commercial and land. We
Okay.
both really like land.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a lot of commercial business going on. We tend to think that this area is growing. One of the things that we see is our regional economic development through the FI College has always recruiting businesses to come to the area. I know the Prescott Valley economic development folks down there. They call us a couple of times a month looking for commercial real estate agents to help businesses find places. We recently had a company from Israel come over and they were looking for commercial property, and unfortunately what they were looking for just did not exist here.
Right.
You know, and so, but there's a lot of development going on.
Is that the one that moved out to the airport, or?
They did hearing aids, but
Okay.
it had a hearing aid and like a heart monitor combination type of thing.
Interesting.
Haven't gotten a follow-up call. I'm not sure if they found the location or not.
Okay.
Then there was another company that did, they would mold inserts to your tennis shoes, and that moved out to the airport recently.
Rosa. Okay.
So, Risa, I think
Risa,
was
right.
their name was. So, excellent.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
What are you looking for in the future? What's happening in Prescott?
Looking forward to, when I moved up here from Scottsdale, I moved up because I thought the airport was really a great location for growth.
Okay.
And so I see a lot of businesses being relocated from even other areas and other air parks in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And that being said, moving up to this airport up here in the Prescott Airport.
Yeah.
It's very, very good area.
Well, one of the things that in talking to the town managers and mayors in the Quad City area, they all agree that if a company moves into the air park or any of the industrial areas in the area, it benefits all the communities.
Right.
All the schools benefits, the tax base benefits, the business.
Absolutely.
Because people aren't going to live at the air park. You know, they're going to move into Prescott or Prescott Valley or Chino or someplace.
Right.
So I think it's a great opportunity for us.
Yeah, I agree.
So, excellent.
Excellent.
All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you so much
that's our segment on commercial real estate.
Thank you.
Oh, it's stressful.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.